I honestly don't really have any words to describe what the fuck I just watched tonight. I mean, this series was riding a wave of momentum at the beginning of this month. And just like that, it's all been squandered. When you have a fucking Pocono race that turns out like it did. It could have had potential, but that's not the way it turned out. And it's honestly one of the most frustrating feelings that I've had after a race in quite some time. And then you have Mr. Dennis Hamlin. I've got some bad news for you Hamlin defenders out there. I'm about to burst your fucking Spurg bubble. Because I've defended Hamlin in the past, and I've ripped his ass in the past, but shit's about to get real. So, let's get into this fucking review, shall we? This video is a Jitterless Energy Blend. Click on the link in the description and use the code PACKERMAN to save 10% on any order. What you doing, cat? So, how do I even start this review? I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. The race itself was nothing but a giant pile of shit. It could have been good, but as is usually seems to be the case, when you have caution after caution after caution with an overtime, and then have a race end under caution yet again, it just completely obliterates all enjoyment of said race. Because I was actually wanting to see how things would have played out had the caution not come out for Ty Dillon basically dumping the 14 car off of turn 3. Isn't that always the fucking way? You have fucking back markers basically ruining long runs and essentially killing what could be one hell of a finish when you see strategies and shit going down. Like you had 2 tires versus 4 tires at the end of this race. I'm thinking, hey, the 2 tires might actually, pull it off. Which, to be fair, ended up happening, but that's beside the point. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. This race gets a 0. Because I have so many negative feelings coming out of this race based on what happened on the track and what happened afterwards. This whole thing was nothing but a fucking clown show. It all started with Austin Dillon making himself look like a total fucking putz. I mean, you want to talk about a guy with unwarranted self-importance. Look at this silver spoon motherfucker. This guy was racing Tyler Reddick and gets touched by Reddick, gets spun into the turn 1 wall, and here's the thing, it was a hard hit. It really was. So, in some ways, I can understand being a little bit aggravated and a little bit angry from getting wrecked hard like that. Here's the problem, though. He came down on Reddick, and the cameras even showed that. Reddick had position on Dillon. And yet, Dillon just wants to act like a fucking idiot, decides to chuck his fucking helmet at the 45 car and completely misses, by the way, which made him look like an even bigger fucking clown. And then if that wasn't enough, his post-interview, when he was asked about him throwing the helmet at Tyler Reddick, and he was asked if he was going to go talk to him about it and all that shit. He's like, no, I need to start wrecking some people. On national fucking television, no less. Like, this isn't something that was caught on a radio or, just a, half-assed sideways comment. No, he literally said this on national fucking television. I need to start wrecking people. Like, are you fucking mental? Like, are you serious? After all the fucking bullshit that we've had to go through with this car and all the injuries that we've seen from it, that's going to be your fucking mindset. Austin Dillon is a perfect example of what nepotism is. The only reason why this motherfucker has a ride is because he is the grandson of one of the greatest team owners in NASCAR history. And don't give me this fucking bullshit that, well, he won the Daytona 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. He won the Daytona 500 by wrecking Eric Almirola, and then he won the Coca-Cola 600 due to fucking fuel mileage. Well, he won at Daytona last year. Yeah, because he damn near fucking wrecked Austin Cindric to do it. So don't give me this fucking bullshit. This guy has been in the Cup Series for a decade. And he has 4 wins to his credit. Meanwhile, the 8 car, in the last 2 fucking years, has won 6 times. With 2 different drivers. Austin Dillon is a fucking dirtbag. And that's all I got to say about that. And then, you had even more clownery after the race when you had Ryan Preece, apparently, basically run up to Corey LaJoie. So I'm guessing that's what caused him to spin out on the overtime period that caused the final caution to end the race under yellow. And I guess he had a problem with Corey LaJoie. So he ran up to him and basically just started yelling at him through the fucking window. You know, there's that. But now we get to the creme de la creme. First, here are the race stats for anybody who fucking cares. The NA is the number of green flag passes that wasn't available at the time. So that's why it's an A. I mean, honestly, it doesn't fucking matter. There was only one pure lead change the entire day. It was 10 fucking cautions. I think half of them were at the end of the fucking race. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter. Because this is all about one Dennis Hamlin. I'm about to make this very fucking clear. And you better be listening. Because I'm only going to say this once. I hate to burst all you Denny... This is to all you Denny Hamlin defenders and fans and all this other shit. I hate to be the one to burst your fucking Spurg bubble. But I've got a bit of a revelation for you. Denny Hamlin is not a good human being. Kyle Larson pretty much confirmed that with his post-race interview. Him and Larson are really good friends. And he said live on national television that Hamlin is always right. He never thinks he's in the wrong. And him as a friend knows that. He basically confirmed what I've thought of Denny Hamlin all this time. And I was talking to my mother about this, and she is not a fan of Hamlin whatsoever. She fucking hates his guts. Because, in her own words, she said that Denny Hamlin is a dick. No. No. Denny Hamlin, I don't know if you can hear that, but there's some thunder and lightning in the area. So we had some storms roll through. But anyways. No. Denny Hamlin is not a dick. It's worse than that. Denny Hamlin is a narcissist asshole. Anytime you have somebody who always thinks they're in the right, has extreme, unwarranted self-importance, a hugely inflated view of themselves, and someone who doesn't have the fucking balls to admit when they're wrong, that's pretty much the definition of a narcissist. And that is Denny Hamlin to a fucking T. All you have to do is watch from this season. I mean, he puts fucking Larson in the wall on a couple of different occasions this year. The first one I could probably say was more of a racing deal. Fine. But today, he basically pulled the same fucking thing that he did last year to Chastain. And he had the audacity, the fucking unmitigated gall to say, they wrecked themselves, I left them a lane. I never touched them. When there is video fucking proof that he indeed touched them. that shows you what kind of motherfucker we're dealing with here. And I've had some people tell me that, oh, well, that's just hard racing. You know, was it clean? Not necessarily, but was it dirty? No. Excuse me? I'm all for drivers going for the win. And I've even had people tell me that because of this, NASCAR wins mean more than ever. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because of this fucking playoff format, if anything, wins in the early part of the season don't mean as much. In fact, I would say they don't even mean shit. They don't. The only race where a race win actually fucking matters is the last race of the year. Because if you're in the championship 4 and you win that race, you're the champion. In terms of determining the champion, none of the other races mean shit. So don't even give me that fucking bullshit. If anything, the playoffs make the first 26 races pretty meaningless. Because you have this win and you're in bullshit. So essentially, if you get a win, you can just cruise until the fucking playoffs begin. That's how it always has been. But I'm all for rubbing is racing. But not when it puts somebody in the fucking wall. At that point, it's Bush League shit. And this is not the first time we've had this discussion with Hamlin. It's not the first time. I mean, just look at things. I mean, he got right rear hooked by Chase Elliott at Charlotte. And I can understand his frustration from that. I can. Right rear hooking somebody is a fucking no-no. And Elliott was rightfully suspended. What pissed me off about that was Hamlin was doing everything in his fucking power to advocate getting him suspended, which is something that nobody should ever fucking do. I don't care who it is. You know, and he was doing it all throughout his fucking podcast and saying justice was done, all this other bullshit. I mean, that's another thing about this whole, thing calling him a narcissist is the fact that he's got his own fucking podcast now. So that just inflates his fucking ego to even more epic proportions. Now, I tried listening to his podcast. Oh my god, that podcast is nothing but fucking dreck. Like, I have never heard such unwarranted self-importance from this motherfucker. Like I said, this guy is not a good person. He is not a good human being. On or off the racetrack. Because there have been rumors going around, about how his relationship with the mother of his children ended. How unceremonious that ended. I mean, and then you see this fucking behavior on and off the racetrack and his interviews and everything else where he's never the bad guy. He's always the fucking victim. And Kyle Petty even called him out on that shit. If you listen to, post-race, I mean, I can't even believe I'm agreeing with fucking Kyle Petty at this point. I can't even believe it. Because, I've had my issues with Kyle Petty and some of his shit over the years, but when I'm agreeing with Kyle Petty, that should say something. Because he said that Denny Hamlin was trying to be the victim. You can't be the victim here, Denny. But this also highlights a major issue that NASCAR seems to have, NASCAR in particular, seems to have right now. Drivers just don't have any fucking respect for each other right now. There used to be I remember even 10 years ago where there would be respect between drivers on the track. It just doesn't exist anymore. And all you get nowadays, especially with these overtimes and these playoffs and all this other fucking stick and ball bullshit, is the fact that you get these fucking absolute crash fests at the end of these races nowadays. I mean, half of the fucking races this year, and I'm not even sure this is even a joke. I think half the fucking races this year have had an overtime period. And I think the majority of them had a fucking wreck in that overtime period. I said this last night on the Xfinity review, which you saw earlier today, for the Pocono race at the Pocono Xfinity review from earlier today. Races should end at their scheduled distance. Nothing more, nothing less. Yes, this race could have ended under yellow, but I would rather have it end under yellow at its scheduled distance than to go through the fucking bullshit of overtime. And this is probably the most frustrating thing about, this whole deal. Is when people make the fucking excuse that, well, you have to do everything in your power to win these races nowadays. What, at the cost of your own fucking reputation? I mean, I couldn't live I mean, if I did something like that, I couldn't live with myself. I mean, look at what I do on Wreckfest when I race with other people. In clean races. Banger, it's a different story. But in clean races, I try to race as clean as I fucking possibly can. And if I fuck up, I own up to it. I mean, if anything, I'm harder on myself than anybody else. Because if I'm going to hold other people to a high standard of driving, you sure as fuck know I'm going to hold myself to that same standard. And that's the other thing some of these motherfuckers on social media need to understand. Okay? People might not understand why I'm so harsh on certain drivers and all that other shit. That's because I actually have fucking standards and I adhere to them. Unlike some of these other motherfuckers on social media who move the fucking goalposts every fucking week. They might have this for one driver, but if they have, another driver that they actually like, I was like, well, it's okay if this guy does it. No, fuck that. I was critical to Junior. Okay, I'm a huge Junior fan when he was a driver. But when he fucked up, I was critical of him. Okay? Like what happened, I believe it was 2009, the 2009 Daytona 500. He was racing to try to get back on the lead lap. Now he said that he didn't wreck Brian Vickers because he didn't want to wreck the whole field. But, I mean, let's be honest here. Vickers was basically driving him like a dick, and it seemed like Junior just dumped him. And I'm just sitting there thinking, Junior, what the fuck are you doing, man? That's not how you should be doing things. And some people try to say, well, you liked it when Senior did it. No, I fucking didn't. If there's one thing I can't fucking stand, it's dirty fucking driving. Because if you are able to make it to the cup level of NASCAR, then you should have more than enough fucking talent to be able to race people without fucking wrecking them. That's what fucking pisses me off about all this. Is Denny Hamlin has all the fucking talent in the world. Okay? He wouldn't be a fucking hack of a driver if, he wouldn't have 50 wins and 3 Daytona 500 victories if he was a fucking hack of a driver. I say the same thing about Kyle Busch. I said the same thing about Jimmy Johnson. There have been times when I fucking hated those guys' guts. But have I ever said that they were not a good driver? No. They have more than enough fucking talent to drive in this series. So when they have to resort to bullshit like this, it fucking pisses me off. Because I expect better. And I'm not gonna fucking apologize for adhering to the standards that I set. And Hamlin has even said it himself, he doesn't fucking care. And therein lies the problem. As far as I'm concerned, as an owner, yeah, he may be good for the sport in that aspect, because he brought in 2311 Racing, brought Michael Jordan into the sport. But as a driver and as a person, there could be no worse representative of this sport right now. Let me tell you something. I have absolutely hated certain drivers in the past to a undeniable passion. But right now, I mean, and I've shit on guys like Kyle Busch and Joey Logano and Kevin Harvick. And I've hated those guys to the ends of the earth and back. Right now, at this very moment, when it comes to Denny Hamlin, I don't think I've hated a driver more. After the shit that I've seen the past couple years from this guy, I think it's safe to say at this point, Denny Hamlin might be my most hated driver of all time. Because of not just the way he drives and the way he is driven, but his attitude off the racetrack as well. You see it in interviews. You've seen it on his fucking podcast. This guy thinks he can do no wrong. He has no remorse. He always thinks he's right. He's always the victim. And if that's the case, fuck him. He can go fuck himself straight off the face of the earth. Because I look at everything he's done. There's no denying it. He is one of the best drivers that NASCAR has ever seen. He wouldn't be a 3-time champion of the Daytona 500 if he wasn't. But this guy, he doesn't know how to apologize. He doesn't know how to man up and admit when he's wrong. Who? Denny Hamlin. This guy doesn't know how to admit when he's wrong. Even when there's clear fucking evidence that he did do wrong, he still denies it vehemently. I mean, all you have to do is look at Pocono last year and this year. He did the same fucking move 2 years running. Both times won the race, although last year he got DQ'd for it. Well, not DQ'd for the move, but he got DQ'd out of the victory because of, I guess, tape on the grill or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly, but he got DQ'd for it. Did the same move once again, and gets completely booed out of the fucking building, and rightfully so. And bear in mind, I know some people are going to be like, well, I mean, he's being booed by all the Chase Elliott fans, and all this other shit. Here's a newsflash. He was being booed long before the whole Chase Elliott deal at Martinsville. Because people have figured out Denny Hamlin is not a good human being. He's a shitty person. This is a guy who feels like he does no wrong, is always the fucking victim, has a super inflated view of himself, I mean, if that's not the definition of a narcissist, I don't know what is. And it absolutely aggravates me. Because if he would have won the race clean without any contact with Larson, none of this would be an issue. I know people have been saying, well, Larson's been doing the same thing, over the past year or two since he got behind the wheel of the 5 car. You don't think I haven't ripped Larson's ass for it? I said the exact same thing. Larson, I said the same thing about Larson doing the same thing. I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't give a fuck who it is. Dirty driving is dirty driving. Bullshit driving is bullshit driving. I don't let who it is cloud my judgment based on that. I mean, even if it's a driver I like, if you fuck up, I'm going to let you know about it. That's how it's supposed to be. And I judge you not by the color of your skin, your sexual preference, your mother, your father, where you come from, whether you're male or female. I don't judge you based on that. I don't give a fuck about that. I have many people at work that I work with that are Hispanic, come from Thailand, black, white. There's some that come from Mongolia, Africa. I've worked with all of them. And I'm good friends with a lot of them. I work with them on a daily basis. And I talk with them and everything else. I care not what you are as a person. I care about who you are as a person. What kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person that would give your own shirt off your back to help somebody? Or are you somebody who only gives a fuck about yourself and has no remorse for others? Think about that for a second. And bear in mind, I have defended Hamlin in the past when he's gotten fucked over. When he got dumped by Chase Briscoe at the Indianapolis Grand Prix a couple years ago. I defended him on that, despite the fact that I think he's a fuckhead. I still defended him. Because what Chase Briscoe did was not right. But make no mistake about it. Denny Hamlin is a shitty person. And what I saw tonight, especially in his post-race interview, and Larson basically saying what he said, and confirmed what I already knew in the first place. I hope Denny Hamlin never wins a championship. I hope he never has that honor. He may earn it from a driver's perspective, and that's all fine and well. But from a human perspective, I hope he never wins the fucking thing. And that's all I got to say about that. But that's going to do it for this review. Next week is Richmond. And I hope it's less of a shit show than we've seen this weekend. But I don't know. I don't know at this point. But I'm done. Fuck this race. Fuck Denny Hamlin. I'll see y'all next week. What's happening, ladies and germs? Thank you for watching tonight's video. If you're interested in sponsoring the channel, there is a link to my Patreon down in the description box below. Otherwise, hit like and subscribe if you want to continue watching great content like you saw today. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, this is the Packer Man signing out.